Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
Right here we see this is hypocrisy, the end game here. JP Morgan, the SEC. Take a listen, it's pretty self-explanatory.
And by the way, if you know what's good for you, we got a position for you here in a couple of years too. That's how this game is played. So let me show you all the wonderful goodies they got for their banks. So for example, there were 64 waivers that allowed companies to avoid new regulatory examinations. You don't need no stinking examinations, so you get those waivers. 35 of them were requested by former SEC employees that now work for the banks. They secured 40 waivers that allowed offending companies to continue selling small amounts of stock without registering it. Who needs to register stock when you got friends in high places?
I mean, is this hitting home or is this hitting home? I mean, this is the hypocrisy of the SEC and how former officials go get these jobs with companies in the private sector and then turn around and glad hand and get those companies the shortcut and the ability to obfuscate regulations from the SEC. Pay to play, is it? I mean, we know a lot about this, and I tell you, they're not the only ones to pay attention to, because while the SEC in the crypto space has made quite a lot of noise about the jurisdictional power grab that Gary Gensler's going after and the horrible decision and the cowardice act of Jay Clayton and his tenure at the SEC to file a lawsuit and leave office on the same day, I asked John Deaton, should we be digging on the CFTC side of the fence too? It seems they've been awful quiet for an agency that was given power by a federal judge's ruling to oversee and regulate all virtual currencies as commodities. This came out of a great conversation I had with Big Skinny today, and I gotta lay it at his doorstep. He's the one that kicked it up. And I said, you know what? We're going to pass this along and see what everybody else thinks. And I tell you, before we get into this, just really quickly, great idea, Brad, says John Deaton, to me and Big Skinny. I haven't seen a FOIA request to the CFTC yet, or haven't sent one, but I guess he's probably getting ready to. This is evidence right here talking about what we're referencing here is that the CFT, which was tasked with regulating commodities, futures, derivatives market, has first determined that the virtual currencies, also known as cryptocurrencies, are commodities in 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, what in the world are we watching with this Ripple case? I believe I have a snapshot of that before we get out of here today. But Weinstein upheld determination on Tuesday at that time, saying it was supported by the plain meaning of the word commodity and that the CFTC had broad leeway to interpret the federal law regulating commodities and virtual currencies as commodities. That's what we're talking about. Why is this case so difficult? I'll tell you why. We'll get to that in just a moment. But let's talk about this when it comes to commodities and proof of work and things of that nature. Florida governor confirms that the state is working on a plan to let businesses pay taxes in Bitcoin and crypto. Now, when you start paying taxes with crypto, you start acknowledging for the people that you see it as money. There is a lot to come here on the federal level if this continues to happen. I promise you. And we see here from John Deaton in the one state's this way, one state's that way. The federal government's going to have to come in and do something here. The last business to leave New York, please turn off the lights as you exit because the state won't be able to afford the light bill. This is from the Blockchain Association here. The New York State Assembly is considering a bill today that would enact a 2-year ban of proof of work, crypto mining in the state. Jake Chervinsky in the Blockchain Association says this is a de facto death sentence for crypto mining in New York and a terrible message to send to the crypto industry that New York is closed for business. Well, Jake, Jake thought he was in the clear. That's why he had no lifeline to reach for us, Ripple and the XRP holders in this space. He didn't give a damn about us. because he thought that Bitcoin and Ethereum were far and away in the clear. Well, now it appears Jake wants a seat in the lifeboat with the rest of us. I say swim by yourself, see you on shore. This is Bitmain Redux here. BitDeer and BitFuFu are about to test U.S. stock markets. They want to go public, ladies and gentlemen. China's two biggest cloud mining platforms plan to go public on the NASDAQ via SPAC deals this year. Let me tell you what a little birdie told me. Little birdie tells me that BitDeer, being one of the biggest cloud mining companies, obviously looking to go public, they never hold the Bitcoin. Every month, when they mine Bitcoin, they sell it for cash. One would think, if I was in the business of mining, let's say gold for instance, I'm probably going to hold some gold as well as sell it for operating costs. But in this case, BitDeer, apparently, from what sources are saying to me close to the matter, are telling me that they mine the Bitcoin and immediately sell it for cash, which tells me whether they're looking to go public or not, they don't believe in Bitcoin or they'd hold some. The other part of this is remember that the SEC, Gary Gensler, recently voting for public disclosures on climate issues. You have to wonder how happy BitDeer may be about that. Take a look at this right here. This is David Schwartz, and he says, bridges and walls. Multi-chain says they're thrilled to announce that we've integrated the XRP ledger. This integration opens the door for cross-chain interoperability between XRP Ledger and other blockchains. Native asset XRP has been supported already, and more will be added soon. You know, when you come back to this lawsuit, you start saying to yourself, you know, I think we have to start entertaining the notion I've been pounding the ground on here for quite a bit now. This case is certainly a legal case, but it's also what I believe is the ultimate version of the Reeves test. When something is a note, when something can be money and not be a security. That is what the Reeves test is all about. And the first core principle of putting the Reeves test to work is ask the question. You must first start with the presumption that the item in mind or the subject in mind for this Reeves test must start out with the presumption that it is in fact a security. Well, isn't that what the SEC case is doing? Take a look at this, because the rest of the world's not confused about where we're going here, and certainly not in Japan. Shout out to Yoshitaka Katao and everybody at SBI. 31 regulated Japanese cryptocurrency exchanges to list Ripple XRP by month's end. Take a looky here, ladies and gentlemen. What say you? The Japan Virtual and Crypto Asset Exchange Association, a self-regulatory organization for Japanese cryptocurrency industry, has announced that Ripple, alongside of 17 other cryptocurrencies, will be listed across various crypto exchanges in Japan. According to a report published by the Nikkei Asia Today, it says that the group of 31 cryptocurrency exchanges said in an online presentation that it will release a green list of the 18 cryptocurrencies that will be listed across the Japanese trading platforms by month's end. Prior to the announcement, before new cryptocurrencies were listed on any of the 31 Japanese trading platforms, cryptocurrency developers were required to go through a screening process. You know, this gets interesting because on that list is actually Ethereum and Bitcoin as well as XRP. Well, we'll have to see how this shakes out, but I tell you, something feels like it's in the wind here. We'll have to pay attention. We will. Here's a reminder coming back to this issue back at home. You know, whether we're talking about Elizabeth Warren with the Russian-Ukraine issue and using cryptocurrency as she believes, which they've had several people testify that it's not enough liquidity to serve any real purpose to do so, we see here that there is an issue when it comes to cryptocurrency exchanges, and I want to offer this when we go into this idea here. And it is this. If you look, it says a recent study from CoinFirm of this year, earlier this year, showed that 69% of the 216 crypto exchanges do not have complete and transparent know your customer KYC procedures in place, an integral part of a robust anti-money laundering program. Now, this does bode to Elizabeth Warren's conversation, who's really bringing fear with the whole Russia using crypto business and talking about her new bill that's going to be ringing in sometime soon, which is really struggling for support, but nevertheless, she has a lot of power. So you got to keep an eye on her and what she's doing there. You don't want her to flatten out the innovation of cryptocurrency. But I want to show you and start with this, because this, for one, goes to the conversation that we were talking about that was shared from David Schwartz about the multi-chain business, right? And it's really what David Schwartz talked about a long time ago, and I put together a diagram. When you get banks comfortable enough, they will press the button to lower the walls, the walled garden, and allow them to use XRP as a bridge to be able to make payments instead of the walled garden that they currently have now. Now, going outside of that, take a look at this. If we take Elizabeth Warren for what she's saying about her issues about, using crypto to obfuscate sanctions, using crypto to go around AML, KYC, and all of this, and you can tell that obviously she's lobbying for the banks to have control of crypto, just like Gary Gensler is. And the two of those people are attached at the hip as well. I see something like this taking place, where you can see Ripple Liquidity Hub really sourcing all of this stuff for all of the people involved, whether it be the banks or the exchanges, forced to plug into a trusted protocol to move these things and source these things on a network that we know is connected to Ripple Liquidity Hub, connected to RippleNet, which we also know is KYC, AML, end-to-end. There's not one transaction that has happened on RippleNet that has not been KYC, AML. Now take a look at this. And if we just look at what the picture could look like, what is Gary Gensler trying to accomplish? What is the silence from the SEC or CFTC accomplishing right now? And how does the Treasury weigh into this thing when we know that we've heard Janet Yellen say that if Congress doesn't get the job done, they will? I'm speculating here, but I tell you, I think the idea is that we haven't heard a lot from the CFTC or Rostin Benham, because they already agreed that Bitcoin and Ethereum would fall under their purview. Just as Gary Gensler's going for the jurisdictional power grab, trying to find legal precedent, albeit through the Ripple case, which it looks like he won't get, and maybe now the library project in case. And if he does get that, then 90+% of cryptos would fall under his purview. But I see something happening in this case where we could see the U.S. Treasury, if we're right and this case is as much about the Reeves test as it is a legal ruling in the matter, I believe what we see come out of this is that the Treasury oversees XRP, the RippleNet, and the XRP ledger. And with that, maybe XLM gets through too, because they're very, very similar. And maybe this is what the outcome looks like for the crypto space with the respective agencies broadly here. I don't know, but what I do know is that I find it very suspicious that Rostin Benham, who has had a ruling at the CFTC back as far as 2015 or 2017.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.